The thing about business is it's full of problems, and bad problems never get any better by hiding them. So it's the same with due diligence. If you come into us and you know that you might have a founder who's departed the business, is on the cap table, and you haven't told us about that, or whatever sort of various little interesting tidbit that's probably not the shiniest thing in your business. We'd like to know about it sooner rather than later, because we won't be very impressed where we spend a lot of time and effort on due diligence just to turn something up that you could have told us on day one. We'll say really bad things about you at that point.
So some common problems that we run into when we do DD with companies are unexplained or hidden sort of tax liabilities. So often companies may not have yet paid any debts that are owed to the ATO, for example, or they might have unpaid super contributions for their employees. So we'll do a deep dive into that and seek to understand what's missing and what needs to be tidied up. So another item that we typically see in DD are outstanding sort of director or shareholder loans. As investors, we typically look to convert those into further equity, just so that we have a total alignment as shareholders going forward. And we typically don't want to see our funds coming in to just basically pay off the founders who have themselves loaned money to the business. So that's why we seek to convert that to equity.
Some things are red flags, so we know we won't go any further on. A poor attitude to the finances is a bad one. We see some businesses with the founders with their hands in the till, not in a legal way, because it's their business, it's their money, but we like to see them have a very sophisticated approach to their business and either draw money as a wage or as a dividend. We don't like people who've lied to us at any stage of the process. That's a huge red flag. Now, you can sex things up in your business, that's fine. A bit of puffery is okay. Outright lying is a bad thing. It's a poor indicator for a future relationship, and we'll drop it like a hot potato. But we've seen all sorts of matter of interesting things come up in due diligence, to be honest. So it's an in-depth process where we really want to understand the business, and we want to understand how you've conducted that business to that point, more importantly.
Companies will often say that they have patent protection over some of their core intellectual property. So what that actually means in practice, though, is that there's been a formal process through our Australian Patent Office in Canberra, and a patent has been lodged. But in many cases, that hasn't been properly done or effectively done. So a lawyer often needs to be properly instructed, and sometimes these can be a bit expensive, but it's really important that they get this right, and that their IP is protected from competitors who might look to do the same thing.
We have a general due diligence checklist, which we try and move through, just tick off items along the way. One, for instance, that we saw recently was having a capitalization table or a cap table, so the ownership structure of the company. And they were raising a seed round, which is at our level of investment, and had already given 70% of the shares to existing investors. So for us, that raised alarm bells and saying, well, that is a problem for us, because we know that if they want to go and deliver on this for the next 5 to 10 years, they're probably going to need further capital invested in the company, including dilution on our round, and therefore it's going to be very problematic for them to be incentivized in 5 years' time, because they will have such a little portion of the company.